This episode of The Inside Source with Michael Pinckney is made possible by Sunrisa Rum, crafted, distilled, and aged in Puerto Rico. Cheers to Sunrisa Rum for making this episode possible. Enjoy the episode. Over to you, Mike.
What's going on, Canes fans? Your boy Mike Pinckney, and welcome to the first ever episode of The Inside Source. I'm going to be giving you an inside look at the Miami Hurricanes from some of the best that ever did it. Tonight's episode, I'm bringing you former first-round pick out of Miami, Coach Ring of Honor, Hall of Famer, my OG, Edgerrin James.
Trail 5, MIA, Dean County. You already know, you already know. You already know.
What's going on, OG? How you living, man?
Man, you know how I'm living, man. Sipping good, man. Chilling, taking it easy.
I appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah, no, it's nothing, man. You know, Hurricane, we got to stick together, man. You know how we rock out. You make a phone call, we there.
I appreciate that, man. I was doing my research, man. You know, I came across that Hall of Fame speech, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations, dog.
Appreciate that.
You know,
appreciate that.
I felt it, man. When I said I had goosebumps, dog, because,
yeah,
you know, I know you, you know what I mean? We got a relationship, you know. I felt proud to be younger brother type thing, you know what I mean? I felt real deep, so that was huge, you know what I mean?
Nah, I appreciate it, man. It's one of the things, man, you always set out to be an example.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody got their story, everybody had their path. And for me, I wanted to make sure I laid something out there that can resonate with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody that's going along this journey, because everybody's not gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the ones that have opportunity to make it, if they got an opportunity to make it, you want to show them that it's possible, because a lot of time people don't even think that it's possible coming from certain elements.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that it's out there, it's real, and you can actually do it, because it wasn't no handouts.
Yeah.
We ain't have none of the things that they have as far as advantages or opportunities in front of us, and we ain't have these hands-on examples.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to make sure that I was a hands-on example.
For sure.
To actually show you that this thing real.
Yeah.
It ain't no luck. It ain't nothing but hard work and grit.
Yeah, man, I think, you know, for me, this was something I really didn't want to do. And my partner was like, man, listen, I think you would be good for it, because usually the people that's not pushy to do it, they're kind of good at it, you know? So I think, you know, seeing you do it, it motivated the hell out of me to be like, well, I got to jump at it, because there's a lot of game that you have. I got so much game from you. I feel like I got game to give. And I want to bring on former Canes that done done it at the highest level, because they got to hear from us. You know what I mean? They got to hear from us, and we got to be able to show those guys. And I still want to be involved with the game. You know what I mean? And I think this is my way of still being involved and seeing what's going on. You know?
No, I think you're gonna be good. And what better way to actually ask questions than from a person that's actually been there, done that, or actually into the sport.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you get people that are hosts or people that have these platforms, but they really don't. They never played the game.
Exactly.
They never went through the trenches.
You ain't done it. Yeah, you ain't done it.
It's different. Nothing against them, because they're all much needed. But when you got a person that can actually, talk about, man, that 6 a.m. workout in that sun pit, doing all that hard work, doing everything, coming out that smoke. It's a different conversation. And when you have somebody like yourself hosting and being on the other side, it's like you able to bring the viewers into what it's like to come out that smoke, what it's like to play in front of those 70,000, what it's like to actually have the pressure of being a Miami Hurricane, because this ain't no cakewalk. To be a Cane, man, it's serious.
It's a beautiful feeling too.
It's a beautiful feeling, but the one thing about it, if you don't represent, they're gonna let you know you're not representing.
Exactly. I want to give a toast, to you, man, because I'm gonna get my
Toast
glass,
up,
but
man.
this
Toast up.
real good, beautiful rum, man. I appreciate you on the Hall of Fame. I appreciate you coming through, man. It's gonna be major,
It's gonna be major, man, and I'm here anytime, man. I'll be a repeat guest.
100%.
Because I always want to see my brother go up, and you got a good group with you.
Yeah. So I want to get into, UM a little bit. I seen you was out at the camp, man. Did you see some good talent out there?
We was at the camp today, and it was more so everybody type camp. It wasn't no hand-picked type camp. So those type of camps are much needed, because that's where you get that diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
You get that kid that may not have had the opportunity to come out and show up and show something.
For sure.
So there was a bunch of kids out there. I'm quite sure it's some that probably got the eyes of some of the coaches that actually dealt with them personally.
Yeah.
So it was actually a good thing, and that's one thing that we got to do at the University of Miami. I think over the years, I think we kind of sat on our little pedestal a little bit too long and too high, and we didn't get as deep into the neighborhoods as we should have.
Sure.
And do the things that it takes to get the university back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think Mario's striving to be the best. You know what I mean? They got the number 3 recruiting class last year, so I think that's the key. Getting these young guys in, get them in position so they can win. You got to have players. You got to have depth. I feel like that was always a problem for us. We didn't have the right depth. You know what I mean? One guy go down, we don't have a replacement. So do you think that recruiting is it going in the right direction?
I think it's going in the right direction because Mario understands what it takes to be a Miami Hurricane and to win at a high level. He was around all those great years, and then he actually has an ear to the former players.
Yeah, exactly.
When you got former players that can show up, like the turnout today, you got Michael Irvin there, you got Santana there, you got Najee, you got Antero, you got a bunch of first rounders
yourself
that's there. I was there.
Yeah. You got to put you in there.
But you got people that's showing up on the fact that, man, like, I believe in
what
the program and what the direction is headed. Because if the players or if everybody didn't feel it, nobody would show up.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where those are the signs. And the fact that he's in the parks now, you see him doing a lot of stuff. He's on the sideline of a lot of high school games. He's really doing what it takes. Yeah. Because in the past, when you deal with these younger kids and they come to you and they be like, man, UM not recruiting me. Yeah. UM they not coming at me hard.
Why you think that was like that back in the day though, man? How we let all this talent get away from South Florida? How does that happen?
That I don't know. That's why I say, man, maybe we was on the high horse or maybe we didn't think that we had to. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I think that was our demise, and that's gonna be the thing that make us rise. Get back on the parks, get back into South Florida because, nationwide, everybody knows South Florida got the best talent.
Exactly. We talking about Mario Cristobal, I think he's the guy. I think he has what it takes, you know what I mean? I'm hearing nothing but positive feedback from, the people around him. They saying he's a great recruiter. They say he does he plays every role, you know what I mean? If you need him to go get money for NIL, he's going to do that. Recruiting. So what do you think about the job he's doing so far?
I think he's doing good. Mario, cool. Me and Mario is like we was at UM at the same time. Mario, he was the grad assistant, on my last year. Okay. So that relationship built from there. And it's always good when you got the Hurricane at the helm. Yeah. Because we've tried it with outsiders. Outsiders not gonna work. Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna work. Yeah. And if it does work, it'll be because of the guards that they have around them that's helping protect them because, it's just different down here. Exactly. You got to understand the culture. You got to understand the city. It's probably 2 or 3 schools in the nation that the kids are faced with all the temptation that's down here. Exactly. It's different. In Miami, you got USC and you got UCLA. Those are the only 2 major programs in major cities that brings a lot of stuff that could actually distract the player. Yeah. And so you need somebody that know that. It's because we all played there and we all know that, man, every night in Miami is something going on. Exactly. And then you 18, 19 and plus, now they got money. Yeah. It's hard to
I'm gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that for sure.
It's hard to say I'm not going out or I'm not going to hang or party. So it's a lot that goes into it. But you need somebody that understands, how this thing works as a whole. Yep. Because a lot of coaches they know X's and O's, but it's bigger than X's and O's.
You gotta know what's going on in the city. I got you.
You got to.
So, with all that being said, with all the distractions, do you think we can get back to those back-to-back championship days? You know what I mean? Is that something that, because the fans, they holding on to it, man. I think every year we had these problems, it's not good enough, which is not good enough because the expectation is so high. Do you think we can get back to those times where it's back-to-back championships?
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that because of course you're gonna need the financials behind you.
Exactly.
Because every school gonna be feeding kids money. And then you need to make sure that you get the best of the best kids from the state of Florida. You know, I think I would be so state of Florida heavy in my recruiting. If you get the best players on a youth and a high school level, it's only gonna carry over to the college level.
Honestly.
Because you don't have time to really develop these kids like you did in the past. So right now, we gotta get to where we're getting the top kids from South Florida. We're making sure that we gotta have a big bankroll behind us.
We got it though. I'm seeing the money, man. We seeing that.
We gotta have, but that's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the game now. It's the new normal. And if we're able to make sure that we're taking care of those things, players wise, just keep the people home.
Yeah. So, you know, with all that being said, you know, I think the money part is something that we got the money. Mario's going to get the money and they investing the money into him. So what is the expectation going into the season? You know, his first 2 years, they haven't been what we wanted it to be. His first year, 5-7, then the second year, 7-6, you know. But those are not his teams, you know what I mean? He needs time. But Miami doesn't have a whole lot of time. The fans don't give you a whole lot of time because they want results. So with all those things in place, what do you think is the expectation? What's the minimum amount of wins we got to get this year to say the season is a success?
Well, now that we have the NIL and you go and get kids from the transfer portal, I think time is out the window.
Yeah.
It ain't about time no more.
You got to do it now.
You got to do it now because you're going to get the players. So I think as a Miami Hurricane, former Hurricane, or anybody as a Miami Hurricane fan, you got to expect to be in the playoffs this year.
Exactly.
You know, I think it's 12 teams this year. I'm not sure if you double check, but I think it's 12 teams. And if it's 12 teams, we got to be one of those 12.
100%. Do we got to win an ACC championship?
Yeah, we just got to be one of the 12 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So however that falls, you know, but those go hand in hand. You know, like you're not going to be one of the 12 if you're not winning the ACC championship.
For sure.
So we got to make sure that we're doing the things that it takes. And when you look at that staff, when you have the Jason Taylors and you have Mike Rumps, you have all those guys that's there, been there, done that, you know, you got experience. You don't have a lot of inexperienced people. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand that kind of hurt the school is we're like a stepping stone for coaches.
Yeah, exactly.
We got so much turnover to where we got to get it right now.
Exactly.
We don't have time to be waiting.
No,
we don't
they
have time to wait. I don't think the city want to wait.
No.
I don't think the boosters or anybody that's putting the financials behind the program want to wait. The time is now, so we got to win.
I feel like it's, I always called it jokingly a trap job because you ain't got but 1 or 2 years. When Manny Diaz took the job, that's something that made me come back because I knew what he was going to go through in a short period of time. So it's like, they want results now because we haven't been where we needed to be in a long time. And I think Mario, I think this team that they got, I think they can do it if they stay focused, So one of those biggest pieces this offseason that he put, probably the biggest is Cam Ward. You know what I mean? Washington State transfer, probably one of the best quarterbacks coming into this year's college football. What do you think about Cam Ward?
Well, when you see a guy that had a chance to go to the pros, I don't know where he would have got drafted.
Yeah, it was deep. It was a deep class.
But regardless, if he would have got drafted first round, second round, third round, or whatever, you got a pro quarterback.
Yeah.
So right now, we have a potential pro quarterback right there at the helm. So when you're going to make those moves, those moves right there, they're very important. But you have to remember they're short-term moves.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we got to keep. We got
it 1 year. We got it 1 year.
We got 1 year. We got to get as much as we can out of them, and hopefully they got the O-line to protect them.
Yeah.
I see they went and got the running back. So
now we'll get into that too.
Yeah, we're pretty deep at the running back position.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at the positions of need, I think we're feeling them pretty good.
Yeah. So, I think he's the guy. I'm hearing nothing but positive feedback from the people that's around him, from, dudes on the team. Like, listen, he's staying late, throwing extra balls, man. He's a film junkie, So I think every year we always think we had a guy. Tyler Van Dyke, he was, it was short-lived with him. I think he had talent, but he just wasn't our guy. So I honestly feel like Cam Ward is going to be the one for us. So you mentioned the running back, something your expertise. Have you been following the moves that they've been making?
I pay attention a little. I just kind of, because there's so many moves, there's so much stuff going on. I just wait till it's real.
Yeah.
And wait till it's settled in and say, okay, like this is what we're going with.
Yeah.
I know we got Fletch, and then we got the new guy that came in. So with those two running backs, you can't say that we don't have the potential to be good at that position.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a team game, and everything has to come together.
Yeah.
And it's all depending on how much they gel. And I played in the pros for 11 years. I always been on top offenses.
For sure.
I went to Indianapolis, Colts, we had top offense. Then I went to Arizona, top offense. So when you look at that and you start looking at it from my perspective, I understand how much work it takes to be a top offense. So you have to put in the work. I don't know how much they're working. Hopefully they're putting a lot of work in, because you got to put in a lot of work. You got to get in there and kind of learn each other and understand the strengths and the weaknesses of each player. And then the coaches have to actually complement the players with putting them in the best position.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm waiting to see, because if you look at the NBA championships, and you look at any team, when they put those teams together, they usually have they struggle a little bit. I think Boston, the only team that threw a group together and win the championship.
Yeah, they're nice.
Like even Miami Heat, we didn't win the championship when we threw it in the first time. You know? But you have to put in time. If you don't put in the time together, you can't just show up and play. This is not a game where you can just show up and say, okay, yeah, we got a running back, we got a receiver, we got a quarterback, and just play. It's bigger than that. Football a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah. So I think, like you said, man, I think, it's gonna come down to what they do day in and day out. You know what I mean? I think the competition is on another level. I watched the interview with Mark Fletcher. I thought he was gonna feel some kind of way, honestly, with this Damian Martinez pickup, but he's embracing it. You know what I mean? He's like, listen, I want that guy to come in and we can be a 1-2 combo. You know what I mean? They both can do so many things coming out the backfield. So I'm excited for that group. You know what I mean?
For me, it's more of like, it's cool to say all the right things politically. And, you always want a good running back, mate.
Yeah.
But my thing is, man, look, I want to see if you really what you are.
Yeah.
And I want to see who I am as a player. And if you talk to the Clinton Porters, the Willis McGahee, the Najees, the Frank Gores, the Duke Johnsons, everybody embrace that competition. But we don't care about the next. We like, man, I'm gonna do my thing. Hopefully you do your thing. And that got to be the mentality. Like, we got to get away from the saying the right things and going with the right thing, because at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, you want to be the man. I want somebody that can come in and say, man, look, it's cool you brought Buddy over here, but
it's me,
man.
I'm the one.
I'm from South Florida.
It's me.
You see what I'm saying? And that was like, in today, that's one of the things I spoke on in a previous interview. I was talking about, the transfer portal. It's like, man, if I'm at the University of Miami, I'm trying to make you jump in the transfer portal.
For sure.
They're going to tell me what kind of teammate I got, what type of running mate I got. They're going to tell me if I got somebody who's going to really push me. Because ultimately, it's about the end goal to get to the NFL.
Yeah.
It's like, we can coincide and we can push each other every day, but you better not slip.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking to be the best. I'm looking to be number one. And that's what I always love about Portis. Portis makes, he's not going to keep no secret about what he's trying to do. He's trying to outdo you every day, but not hate on you.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, I've always looked at it as, man, when I get in that locker room and I get on that field, I'm going to show you that I'm supposed to be here. And if you come in and you show me up, that means I need to get in the lab.
Gotta get better.
And if you don't have people constantly pushing each other, constantly trying to position themselves to be at a higher level, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
This not YMCA ball.
For sure.
This is not no everybody come in, everybody get to play. This is like, man, the best of the best. This is Miami, man, because if we don't perform, we don't sit up there and play, them stands gonna be empty.
For sure.
Other schools, they can be 5-1 whatever.
Yeah,
They're
it
gonna
don't
have
matter.
a packed house. University of Miami, if you sorry, just look in the stands. You're gonna tell you sorry.
The
You can
ticket
tell you
sales
sorry.
get low, man, when we ain't
Yes.
good, for sure. So
Yeah, nobody gonna come out and support you and get behind it. I think, and that's one thing I've always loved about the city of Miami and the fan base. It's not a phony fan base.
For sure. No, they
It's
real.
You got a ball.
they lit it. They lit this shit,
You
man.
got a ball.
So, do you see somebody out there that reminds you of Edge when you played right now?
Nah, in fairness to them, it's a different era,
Mm-hmm.
and it's different things that you have to go through to be an Edge or be one of those guys that coming from these situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't put myself in their shoes
Yeah.
because for me, I had a one-track mind
Mm-hmm.
to get to the pros
For sure.
so I can take my family out of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those guys, financially they're already getting taken care of. So it's just different. It's a difference when you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have, and the light on the end of the tunnel is farther down the road. Right
Yeah.
now, they get to the school, they already good.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for them. But
got you.
hopefully, as we go through this transition of the NIL
Mm-hmm.
and guys, they're being compensated. Hopefully we find some type of little barometer or something to say, like, this is why this kid is going to the next level.
For sure.
Because we didn't have. It's
No.
like, we was happy to have our cane card. We got a cane card with a couple $100. Man, we rich.
That changed up since you've been gone, though, man.
I just left the school, man. You gotta
Yeah.
see the locker room.
Yeah, it's different, man. I'm here.
It's totally different. It's like, and I applaud them, and I think it's a good thing, but they got to understand that it's all part of the ploy to get them into the school.
For sure.
It's not about the end result, because I always said, man, look, I'm gonna go to the NFL, I'm gonna take care of my family, make my life, but I'm gonna leave my mark and end up in the Hall of Fame. And
sure.
it don't always end like that. But if it does, great.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you striving for it, that's all you want. I just want the kids to strive to be the best.
I got you. So, while I was doing my research, I seen your son got a Miami offer. So was Miami in the conversation with y'all? Because I see he took the Howard route. He's balling out. He's doing his thing. Was Miami in the conversation for y'all?
Well, see, once you go to the school, it's always going to be an option.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's great about the school. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it and say, look, is this really what's best for the kid?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to put the pressure on, okay, Edgerrin James' son,
Yeah.
all the expectations, everything that comes, or you want the kid to be exactly who he is?
Mm-hmm.
And my son got like a 3.6, 3.7 GPA.
Oh, he ain't there.
He's into,
Okay.
he's into like real life stuff.
For sure.
So it's like, this not the typical guy that come to University of Miami and I'm hungry, I don't have. Of course he has.
For sure.
Of course he doesn't.
Yeah, you gonna make sure of that.
Yeah, so it's a different ball game. So Howard University was best for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of times we put our personal feelings in situations to where we're like, oh, I went here.
You gotta go here.
No, it's like, man, we got to do what's best for you. And when you look at it, man, we make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the future, because he's going to have an extra year or so, but I wanted him to get that Howard degree.
Yeah.
He'll have that Howard degree, and you just never know what may happen because he still has eligibility. And he's good. He's legit.
He's balling. I'm watching him.
He legit. That part I'm not worried about.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to look at the whole as a person.
Yeah.
It's like when you see Edgerrin James, you're going to see a person that just naturally run that ball.
Yeah, I'm watching him.
Do it at a high level.
Yeah.
So you don't, and so, but you still have to take everything into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you bring him here and you bring all that pressure on him, and he's really like, he's into his school, he's into all his stuff, he's into all these other dynamics. It's like, man, I want you to make a decision, and that's the decision he made.
Mm-hmm.
But the University of Miami, they always make sure that, our school, like we're a real family.
100%.
It's a real family. So if he wanted to be at the University of Miami, he could have been at the University of Miami.
We talking about money, you know what I mean? We talking about these dudes getting something we hadn't had or seen before, which is the NIL. So, I think it's a game changer. What's your opinion on the NIL? What's the pros and the cons of it?
The NIL is it depends on how you look at it, from what lens. and depends on where the kid is coming from. That's gonna dictate a lot. You got a lot of people playing on these kids at an early age, so they don't really know what's really real. But I think it's a great thing if it's done the right way.
Yep.
And then you always have to question the hunger.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
the hunger of the kid. I just hate to see a kid that could be a potential Pro Football Hall of Famer make the decision to go somewhere else
Yeah.
because it was a money play. And if they go there because their handlers influenced them to go there because they had a benefit for themselves personally, as you start going along this journey, you start seeing a lot of people, you know, they have self-interest
100%.
in every situation, and they mask them big time. But when you get to the core of what's best for the kid, that's when you start breaking down, okay, this is the school, this is your position, these are the coaching staff, these are the people that's gonna help you. And if the pro's the end game, cool, because everybody's not gonna be pro.
Yeah.
And so it's some guys, you know, they're gonna get a great NIL, and that, man, you may not be pro potential, but you're a great college player. Get the most you can out of college. But if you have potential to go to the NFL, be a first round draft pick, and go on and have a great NFL career, you gotta do it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing 6-7 figure numbers though, man. Do you think that's too much for a Miami kid? You know what I mean? A dude that plays for University of Miami. Is that too much for him? Because I'm hearing $1 million, I'm hearing $2 million. You know, that's a lot of money down here,
I don't think nothing is too much because it's so you have to think about it. If somebody's willing to pay that, what do you think they're getting on the return on their investment?
Yeah.
Because it's all business at the end of the day. These people aren't doing these things just to do those things.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't care what the number is, but it's like, what's your end goal? What are you trying to do? You can say, man, I'm just gonna be a great college player. I don't really want to deal with that NFL stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make as much as I can, and I'm gonna get into the real world. So it's what approach the kid taking, his family taking what's best for them. Because numerically, man, it's so much money. And these things right here are really just showing how, for so many years, that the NCAA or college football has been robbing the system.
Yeah, man. They had to open the books up, man.
Now, once you open the books, you start seeing, if you can get, like right now, I think they just they just brought out that every school can spend 20 million. Like, where that 20 million come from? It's been there.
Yeah.
It's no different.
They owe me a little piece of change too. I want my check. I need my check.
You need to go get it. I think that's one of the things that people gonna have to really like look at and say, man, look, it's a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
And I think it's going, even at the University of Miami, it's gonna trickle down to, man, you're gonna have to take care of the alumni, take care of all these people, because when you see these kids getting all this money and you see the coaches getting all the money, as an alumni, you say, hey, I need you to come here and help us recruit a kid. You think alumni gonna show up every time?
If we ain't winning, they not.
Exactly. Winning or losing, because when money comes into play, all them personal feelings go out the way.
Exactly.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. I think it, like you said, man, it's good. You know, it's good and it's bad. There's some good to it, some bad. So I think it's leveling the playing field. Because you know, like I know, man, all around college football, it's some backroom deals that's been going on, and we ain't had that in our in our tool bag in a long time. You know what I mean? So I think now we're able to go get those players that really want to come here, but we got the money to go, be able to do it. Now here, Mario's using the money the right way.
I think this is gonna come back to the whole. Yeah. The lifestyle. It's like, it's gonna be hard to turn if the University of Miami get the money and they have the money and they spend it right and they start winning. It's no way the University of Miami won't be winning championship after championship after championship, because it's hard to turn this down. How do you keep your team focused though? How do you keep all them kids? Once the money's out, once the money's out the way, it's going. What I think gonna happen in the future, if the University of Miami, say the University of Miami get back right now, go win the national championship, it's gonna be hard for people to not come here. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to say I'm not coming to the University of Miami, because we got too much to offer. 100%. You want to go to small town and go to bars and go to little pool halls, or you want to say I'm gonna come to, you want to come to the University of Miami to where you're gonna be out here living the lifestyle. You want to be looking at the water. You want to be flying on the jets, and you want to be on the plane. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, man. And then they're gonna raise another problem. the University of Miami get back and the University of Miami get to where it's killing it, it's gonna be hard to out-recruit us. You can't.
It's done.
You can't. This is the life.
Yeah. What you think Edge would have made back in the day if you had NIL going on? Because I know I would have been a 6-7 figure guy just off my personality, but I know Edge would have got a nice bag. What you think you'd have done?
I really don't know, man, because like, you know, I always been a businessman, so whatever the max is, I'm aiming for it.
Whatever the max.
You know, whatever the max is, I'm aiming for it. But at the same time, I always looked at the bigger picture. You know, I had this conversation about Marvin Harrison Jr. It's like, man, he should have stayed in school for another year to get the money. But I'm like, he coming from a situation where he
already got the money.
At some point, man, the game has to mean so much to you. And that's, you can tell by a person's response is, what does the game mean to you?
Yeah.
Like the game meant, I want to be the one of the best to ever play the game.
Yeah.
It's a different mentality. I never came and say, look, man, I'm gonna stay in college so I can make this money right here. They're like, no, I'm gonna make my money over there because at the end of the day, man, when you sit around and you look at the game, you want to be somebody that they mention forever.
For sure.
And if you take, I'm gonna stay in college, I'm gonna do all this, I'm gonna do all that, you put in the game second.
Yeah.
So I've always looked at it like, man, of course I want to make some money, but I'm going to the pros because that's the reason I started this thing. I started this thing to make it to the NFL, to be one of the best to ever play the game. And if that's not your mentality, it's like, how are you going to actually get up there? Because you're not even thinking about that. You're going to sell yourself short because you want to do things that you say, okay, I want to make me some money in college. Yeah. Man, ain't nothing like being one of the best to ever play the game for the rest of your life. It's like when you sit back and you say, okay, it's 300 and some players that's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's 100 and some people actually living as of today. It's like, I want to be one of those guys because it's millions of people that play this game. This is the #1 game in the world for us. You know, we love this game. And to say it's only 300, 100 and something living.
Small few.
That's where I'd rather be at.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to understand what's at stake. You have to understand the big picture. And for me, it's like, I ain't playing the game just to say, I'm gonna get in here and play. Like, no, I started this thing at 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that, man, look, when I get finished, I put my cleats up, I don't have to look back.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys can sit back and say, man, I wish I would have did this. And another time I had these conversations, you know, people like, man, if I would have did this, if I would have did it, it's too late.
It's too late, yeah.
I don't have to say that. Man, I did what I was supposed to do. My cleats up, Pro Football Hall of Fame, 336, forever immortal. So you don't have to never worry about that. You know, I got everything out of this game. I don't feel like the game was like, dang, I did all this shit, but I ain't maxed it out. Yeah. It's maxed.
So, you know, I'm watching, you know, making all the moves business-wise, you know, with you. I'm seeing, you know, you're a business mogul. I done seen that firsthand. What's next?
Not a mogul.
You're a mogul. I feel like you're a mogul, man, because I'm seeing the moves you making, man, and I'm like, man, Ed, don't stop, man. What's next for you in the business world? I'm seeing the restaurants and the clubs. What's next?
I just think, man, like when you start doing stuff, you just want to do stuff. Yeah. You know, it's like it turns into the game. It turns into the new game for you. Everything's not gonna be a win, but you're still active. You're doing stuff, and it keeps you going. It's like the day you stop doing something, the day you start dying. Yeah. You know, so it's like for me, it's more, man, I'm gonna try to do this, and I'm gonna try to put this together. Everything's not gonna be a win, but everybody won't know it because I'm gonna keep going. And I think those are the things that drive you because you can only play sport for so long. Sport can go from 7, 8 years old all the way to your 30s. Yeah. You know, and after that, you know, if the man up top bless you to live a long time, life expectancy go to 74, 75, whatever. I'm going for 90, you know, but it's like, what are you gonna do during that time? It's like, what am I going to do? Okay, I left the game at 30, 31 years old, and I left the game, I probably could have did probably 2 more years, you know, but you leave the game and then you find out it's nothing but free time. What are you gonna do with that free time? You know, so you might as well get into the new game because this game right here, shit, it ain't no cakewalk. It ain't, everything you touch not gonna be a win.
It looked like you hit the ground running though, man. I mean, I you know, since I've been watching you, I ain't seen no missteps, man. You know,
you're not gonna see a misstep because it's just like getting hit hard in the game.
Yeah, got to get back
and somebody might have knocked the wind out you.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna let you know that I got knocked out. You know, I'm gonna get
gonna
up.
take an L in silence. I got you.
Yeah, like this games you can be like, man, dang, he hit me good. You know, he done hit me good, but I'm gonna jump back up. I'm gonna walk back to the huddle. And it's the same mentality you have to have in business, because like you can't sit back there and complain about, man, I made this wrong decision. You know, every day you spend talking about the wrong decision is a day you took away from getting to the right decision.
I got you. So, you know, I see you spend a lot of time with your kids, you know, seem real active. You know, I'm seeing that you bringing them up in your business. I'm seeing you on Instagram, y'all making financial moves together. You know, you sitting down, talking all kind of business with them. Is that something you see, you know, for the future, you mentoring your kids in terms of bringing them into your business?
Yeah, for me, it's more of like when you have your children, like regardless of whatever decision they make, you're gonna have to be the person that has to bail them out. You're still a parent. For
sure.
You know, when the kid get in trouble at school, you gotta go to school, you gotta go do all this stuff. Same thing as an adult.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have to do that all the way. So for myself, you know, being around people, and I've seen, you know, different cultures. Culturally, there's a difference in the way we do things. A lot of, you know, like African American kids, they come from single parent homes, and they don't really have those examples. And you get a chance to be around people that actually have things going on, and you can see their father position them for this. And then they take that same approach and they position the child, and it continues. And you sit back and say, man, that's actually pretty cool to do that, and it's the right way to do it. It's just that it's not something that we're accustomed to doing
at all.
And so for myself, when you get a chance to be around something good, don't disregard it. Don't sit up there and downplay it. Say, man, look, I like the way their family structure is. You know, maybe I need to instill this in my children
100%.
to make sure that, you know, when they come up. So I have a daughter that's a lawyer. She does the NIL. She does all the stuff with my different businesses. And it all stemmed from that. It's like you instill it in them. If they buy into the program, we can do that. And then you have your next one. Then you have the next one. So you just keep it going. But all you're doing is looking at situations that have been successful, and you step out. You have to, like, for us, we had to learn to step outside of our traditional cultural thing and say, man, look, this world is for everybody. Everybody needs to lean on everybody. And if everybody lean on everybody, you'll get insight to why people are successful. And when you playing sports, if you look at the game, when everybody went to doing the RPO, the run pass, that's which is what the whole season, everybody
wants a piece of it.
And if you want to have success, man, you have to make those adjustments. You have to make those adjustments in personal life and as far as business. And if you say you playing sport, you gotta adapt to what's going on.
So how do you know, you got 6, right?
6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls.
How do you manage up that time? Because I'm saying one is in DC, you got one in Orlando. You know, they all over. How does Edge manage his time with his kids?
But that's the easiest part. Because when you make something a priority, everything else comes after it. And I've made it a priority. I made it a priority to make sure that I'm gonna position my kids, or I'm gonna be there for my kids. And you have to have omnipresence. And go back to the city of Miami. Miami works perfect for me. I'm a night person by nature. I can do all the kid stuff, daytime, this and that, but I won't miss a beat. I'm gonna be in the club at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I won't miss a beat. So it works, but you have to figure out what works for you. And when you sit back and you're looking at it, you say, man, look, I have, like, a lot of people say, man, Edge, when do you sleep? I sleep more than anybody. But everything is structured around my priorities. And that's the main thing. I don't let nobody get me off my priorities. I don't care what it is. Everything has to flow within what's important. And there's a pecking order. And if you stick to that pecking order, and you have to have discipline. That's the hardest part.
The discipline.
I think the discipline is the toughest part to being an athlete, to being a father. Because there's temptations now. You can't we're not gonna disregard that. But anything you're doing, you got to have discipline.
I mean, for me, man, I think, you know, so I just had 2 twin daughters 2 years ago, man.
Congratulations.
You know, bless them, man. You know, and they out of state, and I wrestle with it all the time, not being able to get up there as much, you know, because I'm trying to grind, I'm trying to do what I got to do right now. So, you know, when I see you, hustling and bustling and still going to see your kids. It motivated me, man. I'm like, I gotta get off my ass and do what I gotta do. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, listen, one thing I can tell you, as a man to man, if you don't show up, another brother will.
Yeah, exactly.
So if that don't motivate you, you're gonna find the time.
Yeah.
Because if you don't find the time,
somebody else
they're gonna find somebody else to fill that space. So within that right there ultimately should say, look, whatever I'm doing is not as important as this, because you made a decision to bring them here.
Exactly.
And if you bring them here, you got to see them through.
You know, so, you know, Edge, you know, we see the success all the success you got, you know, in business, your career, you know, with your kids. But I know everything ain't always been smooth, you know what I mean? How does Edge keep pushing and getting to that next level, man? How does he keep persevering?
Well, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
It's like, when you don't have nobody to lean on, it's like I can sit back and complain. Who am I gonna complain to? I'm gonna go look in the mirror, complain to myself. You can do that for how long? But then you don't waste a lot of time. You just complaining. But when you get to a point to where you start realizing, like, man, it's all on me. Everything always been on me, and I bet on myself. You see, everything I do is I make sure I'm holding myself accountable. So when you're doing it that way, you take things for what they are, but you don't sit there and complain, or you don't sit there and just sit in that muddy water. You say, man, look, that happened.
Yeah.
Guess what? And then I always look for, okay, what's the message behind this?
Yeah.
Man, I'm tripping, or I'm not doing something right, or I chose the wrong friend, or I chose the wrong partner, or I chose something that made this not turn out the way it's supposed to be. And so there's a lesson in every loss, and all you do is just keep building on it. You just keep going. And it's just like you go back to sport, you go back to football. Okay, you made a bad play, you fumbled the ball. Man, look, put that behind you. Because if you think about it, now you're gonna be clutching on the ball so much to where that's all you focused on. You satisfied with, I got tackled and I didn't fumble the ball, versus I didn't make yards, I didn't gain, I didn't maximize this play. So you can't sit back and sit there and carry the burden of a past mistake or something that didn't go in your favor. Everything not gonna go in your favor. And if you look at all the great stories and you look at all the great movies, every movie always had a person that went through something. That was the best movie. What movie can you watch that from day one it was fun, everything was perfect, and at the end it just ended up, nobody wants to watch that.
You know, and that's something that scared me throughout my time coming up, because everything was always easy. I'm like, man, I'm gonna hit a roadblock at some point, dog. And how that's gonna really show who I am.
Right.
So for me, it was my injury. When I remember me and you having that conversation. You like, man, I don't like you getting surgery right before you go into the draft, and it did hurt me, you know. But in the long run, I think I needed that, because I needed to see who I was and how I was gonna fight back. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's making me who I am. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you coming in today, man. I appreciate you, you know, being who you are and giving the advice to the young guys and being somebody we can look up to and reach out to. You know, you ain't one of them OGs. You know, you ain't one of them OGs that, hey, well, I don't want to talk to you, I'm too good. You know, you available for us, and I appreciate that, man. And you know, I think the Miami Hurricanes gonna be big this year, man.
Yeah, man, it's good, man. But I think it's an obligation as a person that's been blessed to get put in a certain situation. And if you recognize that, you know, man, blessings keep coming, and you have to keep giving. So I'm gonna always keep giving. I'm gonna do whatever I can. Never gonna step outside of who I am. And it just naturally happens. So whenever to reach out, man, congratulations on this podcast, man. It's gonna be great. You're gonna do good, and it's gonna go as far as you want it to go. And the thing I always tell anybody that's been a former athlete that had success, you understand why you was good. It's because your team. You seem like you got a pretty good team, and it's only gonna go as far as you want it to go and how much work you put into it. And if you don't put the work into it, you can't expect it to become one of the best of the best.
Well, listen, OG, before you get up out of here, man, I want you to sign my game jersey, man. I want to get all of the greats on here, man, you know, coming through the show, wherever you want to sign that, man.
No problem, man. I'm gonna do this one free of charge.
Yeah. Only on the inside source, man. I'm not selling the jersey. I appreciate you, man. We're gonna hang this thing up somewhere, man. Probably in the back shot. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you taking out the time, coming through, hollering at me, man. Till next time, man.
Man, you already know.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
always show up for my Hurricane brother. We toast
Love, baby.
to the first show. Congratulations.
My guy.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, Canes fans, it's been real, man. You only gonna get this kind of content on the Inside Source. Edgerrin James, Mike Pinckney. I'll see you next time.